How's it going, ladies and Bruce's? I'm Bob Sixkilla and welcome back to Sekimeiya. It's time for us to see this next part from Ashiya's perspective. Whoever's perspective that is, I don't really know. I'm assuming Lei, because she's the only Ashiya person that we know. Unless you count Katai, which I don't. The only representative of Ashiya, should we say. I guess we'll see. This might round out this chapter, because we're going to get the whole how the heist happened from every perspective. Oh, it's from Naomi's perspective. That makes sense, actually. Obviously. Naomi's eyes opened in pain. Before them was a pair of shoes. She recognized them, but not the scenery behind them. Where was she? Sharp sound refocused all of her senses. She was in the event room. And there had just been an attack in the tower. After getting that far, she almost gasped. Those shoes belonged to Katai. And what she'd heard was the cabinet opening. While she was still processing that information, the steps began to depart. She had to stop him. At once, Naomi considered the possibility that Katai had been responsible for the smoke. Her head hurt, and her limbs took a few seconds to respond. However, she was able to force her body out. Speechless, she saw two people who she just met on the floor. Their names were Atsuki and Shiroya. Wait, Shiroya again? I thought we had Miya. But what about the third person? Another man had been with them, and Naomi couldn't find him. She grabbed her glasses from the floor. Immediately, her sight blackened, as the smoke had covered the lenses. Trying not to inhale what lingered of it in the air, she slowly staggered to hallway A, wondering how long she'd been asleep, and cleaning her glasses with her sleeve. 6 people had fallen unconscious. When the smoke was released, Naomi had been looking at the cabinet. Out of all of them, she'd been the furthest from the source, as everyone else had been next to a grenade. Atsuki had faked his unconsciousness, meaning that in the event room, Naomi's was the only adult body to be knocked out. Added to the lesser quantity of smoke that she inhaled, she would have been the first to awaken. Because of that, when Katai stepped next to her ears, she was brought back to reality minutes before everyone else. She couldn't believe the appearance of the hallway. Like in the event room, a dark, sticky coating was everywhere, blocking out the light. Thanks to hallway C's ceiling light, though, she was able to see the storeroom closing. It hadn't been Katai had it. She'd spoken to him a few times, but she'd never gotten a specific impression of him. Approaching the storeroom, Naomi hoped that she'd been mistaken. Katai should have been in the security room, so perhaps he was acting against the attack by protecting the target. Outside the door, she heard a noise. What was it? It sounded like a door being forced open. That didn't make any sense. When it stopped, Naomi heard the person approaching but sharply burst to her side out of fear of being attacked. It was Katai. However, he didn't see Naomi. Instead, he rushed back into the darkness. As soon as Naomi peeked inside the vacant room, her mouth dropped. What the hell was she seeing? The wall was open. All doubts vanished from her mind. Katai was behind the attack. A corridor extended beyond the wall, one she'd never known about. As much as she couldn't believe it, it explained a lot of things. Then she took notice of a glow on the floor. The Sekimeiya. Concealing her footsteps, she approached the faint light. It was in a suitcase, and it appeared both gemstones were there. Slowly, she closed it and brought it out of the room. Although she couldn't see anyone, she was able to perceive Katai nearby. He was there, in the hallway. Wishing not to be seen, she sprinted towards hallway C. Before she could breathe steadily, she heard Katai getting closer. Without moving her eyes, Naomi continued to take slow steps back. But Katai wasn't coming for her. He simply re-entered the storeroom. That was when Naomi finally thought about how strange everything was. What was that silence? What had happened after she'd lost consciousness? From where she was, she could only see hallway B looked the same. Something of a large scale had happened, but so why was nobody else there? She felt frozen and clueless as to what to do. At least she had to retrieve the Sekimeiya. She had to leave. The exit was on the other side of the hallways, but she could only see a dark void. Was someone else there? She hesitated, scared to surround herself with the darkness. Holding tightly onto the suitcase, she took a step forward. A thin fog obscured her vision, but the lobby door shortly came to view. However, alarm bells went off in her head. Someone was behind her, running at full speed. She couldn't look back. With the scarce energy she had, she went through the door. What? Her eyes went wider than ever before. A metal shutter was in front of the door. It didn't make any sense, but she didn't have time to think. She had to keep running. Covering her face, she ran through hallway B. When she returned to where she'd been, she confirmed she wasn't being chased anymore. She couldn't leave the building. It was ridiculous, but a huge piece of metal she'd never seen was blocking the way out. If Katai was the one who'd run behind her, there was only one place where she'd be safe. She tried to open the elevator, but it wasn't on that floor. And she couldn't wait for it, so she took out her keys and dashed up the stairs. She She unlocked the grey door, but she couldn't waste time locking it behind her. If her pursuer was Katai, then he had that key as well. She didn't slow down. Once she was on the 3rd floor, a sound alerted her. She was being chased again. Through the many floors of the tower, her goal was to make it to the attic. And Sekimeiya bounced inside the suitcase and Naomi gripped the key without stopping once. At last, the final floor was in sight and nobody was behind her. With the key, she locked the door behind her. She'd made it. Katai wouldn't be able to reach that place. Panting, she went up the narrow staircase. Naomi stepped to the sofa, where she brought her keys and the suitcase. Exhausted, she took a moment to catch her breath. The bright living room looked almost nothing like the lowest floor. When she opened the case, she saw both identical gemstones, even though she'd brought them to safety, where she'd been told the cabinet's temperature was essential for their well-being. Something was strange. The interior of the suitcase was very hot. Naomi found around it and gripped it tightly, unable to comprehend why it had heated up so much. What? Out of nowhere, both the Sekimeiya vanished. Astonished, Naomi stared at the empty suitcase. She'd felt one of their white surfaces for an instant before both had disappeared. She couldn't comprehend what had occurred. It wasn't possible. They couldn't have disappeared. However, they weren't there anymore. But then she noticed something else was gone. Her keys, which she'd left next to the suitcase. She questioned her own memories. She just left the keyring there, hadn't she? Or had she left it in the keyhole? Speechless, she peeked down the stairs. It wasn't there. But it wasn't on the sofa either. She couldn't understand. How could her keys have disappeared with the Sekimeiya? It was utterly nonsensical. She looked through the sofa, the suitcase, and on herself. They really weren't anywhere. Wondering if she'd gone insane, Naomi walked to the hallway. She knew the layout of the attic well, and she was sure that she was alone. She intended to keep the Sekimeiya in a safe place, but somehow she failed, completely lost. She wondered what to do. More people were on the crystal floor, and they might have woken up already. However, she couldn't leave. Without the key, she couldn't unlock the door she just locked, so she pressed the elevator button. But nothing happened. Naomi couldn't believe her situation. No matter how much she thought about it, she didn't think she was wrong about what had happened. She'd seen the Sekimeiya disappear before her eyes, so the same must have happened with the keys. What had happened in the tower? Had she been hallucinating everything since she'd fallen unconscious? She simply couldn't accept that she'd trapped herself in the attic. But she had. Alone on the highest floor of the tower, Naomi had no method of escape. And so began the day. How did it end, however? Alright. Chapter 5. Man-Made Universe. Here we go. This is going to be the climactic chapter, I believe. I'm still loving the music in this game. It's one of my favourite parts. The music's great. My body crumpled down. I couldn't keep going. A month? What kind of joke was that? I couldn't bear one more second. Shiroya's words played back in my head. Don't forget what I said. I meant all of it. I laughed alone. I didn't know where I was. What anything had become. None of it. Nothing we'd done had any meaning. We made it to the end of that impossibly long day for nothing. The words Shiroya had abandoned me with. Were they supposed to be reassuring? I tried to continue yelling her name, but my voice broke. She'd known what would happen, and hadn't warned us. She kept waiting at our side, bolstering our hope until she'd run away. Why? She would never have done that. I couldn't let a single day change my view of her. But I couldn't help but despair. I wanted to leave. I wanted to be hit by the icy air and feel released. I wanted to talk to more people, even if they were the police. And it wouldn't happen. Could we survive an entire month? Of course not. Shiroya had been mentioned in the recording. So would I not see her for weeks? Would the nightmare persist in the Sekimeiya's domain? It was too horrible of a thought to bear. People had died. And I still didn't know who, how, why. The lights had gone out, so I followed their example. I closed my eyes, intensifying the darkness, before I felt once again how insignificant I was. Isla? Where? Edna's voice came from the hallway. She's not here. What? Where is she? What are you talking about? Sai sounded confused too, near the end of hallway A. She's not here. Could she mean... I mustered the strength to dash back out of the lobby. Look, she isn't in the cabinet. I entered the crystal room. Although I knew its walls were stained dark, I couldn't differentiate them from the rest. I stepped to the cabinet where Isla rested and reached my hand inside. She wasn't there. You're right. She was here just minutes ago. What the fuck? Did Shidoya take her out? Why would she do that? I'm sure you can explain why she did everything else. What if she was saved? That could be it, right? Oh, something just happened, that's for sure. I followed Sai out. Utterly lost, we went to check the bathrooms. Man, what the fuck is this? Naomi isn't here either. We ran to the crystal floor where we'd found her first body. It wasn't there. The curtain wasn't on the floor either. Did all the bodies disappear? In that case, Katai's must not have been in the security room either, but why the hell is it locked? And it wasn't only the bodies. We had thought that if, at 9 o'clock, the exit didn't unlock, we would let the others listen to the recording. However, that can no longer happen. The recorder itself must have vanished alongside Issa. Atsuki, when the lights went out, did you really not see anything? I didn't see anything, no. Then why did Edna and I see a flashing light? It lasted but an instant, but I find it really strange that it didn't happen to you. I don't know, I have no idea. Why was I the only one not to see that? Could that indicate what happened? Shidoya ran to hallway B and told us not to follow her. We should go into the Sekimeiya in the cabin. Then out of nowhere, the lights went off and the shutter remained unmoving. What the fuck had happened? Shidoya's face had looked the opposite of malicious, so why would she have done anything harmful? She couldn't have trapped us here for an entire month. Edna was behind us and she sounded like she was in pain. Although we couldn't see it, it appeared her finger had started bleeding out of nowhere. Edna, before the lights went off, you went to the mechanical room, right? Yes. Why? I thought maybe someone was there. We still have to find Arcado. There's no way you believe it, right? The light breakers are there. Did you turn them off? What the hell happened to your finger? What? How would I have done that? They're locked up. And there's still electricity. The cameras are working. I glanced at the ceiling of the hallway, where the faint green lights of the cameras could be seen. And I don't know, but it really hurts. Did you just hear that? A drop of blood fell to the floor, but I can't see what kind of injury I have. You could have only turned off the breakers that control the light, right? Go check them. You'll see I didn't touch any. Did the light go off in the mechanical room? Yes. And how are we supposed to check them? We can't see anything. Doesn't your wristwatch give off some light? You think this is going to do anything? Well, if it's really dark, it will. Sai lifted his watch's blue screen, but it didn't illuminate anything in front of it. Shidoya still here? Is she currently listening to us? Don't forget what I said, I mean all of it. If she's not here anymore, then whose doing is this? It can't be a coincidence that Edna left our side minutes before the shutter was going to open. A month in the tower, that was impossible. There was no way that fate awaited us. But merely thinking about it was almost enough to make me lose my grip on reality. I couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted to know what was happening. I wanted to know what had been going on since the start. Now stay here and don't follow me. Why? Why did I have to stay there? Leaving the tower with Shidoya was the only thing I wanted. It was the only thing both of us wanted. Are the other floors going to be like this too? You're asking as if I have a clue. We trudged along bit by bit. In hallway C, Sai tried to open the elevator. It's not here. He found the button on the wall and pressed it. A while later, it still hadn't lit up. Unless it's open on another floor, the elevator must have been disabled too. I didn't want to use it though. Let's take the stairs. What happened to the lights? That voice. I turned around to where it had come from. Whose voice was it? What do you think? What are the remaining mysteries that you've solved? Perhaps you'd like to prove yourself as well. You'll have the chance to do that. Show that the peak is also awaiting you. That the keys you were given were put to use. Oh shit! You're asking me questions? What did they say again? Where are we? Chapter 5. Goddamn. Oh, this is not the words. Perhaps you'd like to prove it. Where are we? Oh, the voice belonged to this one here. What happened to the lights? Whose voice was it? What do you think? What are the remaining mysteries that you've solved? Perhaps you'd like to prove yourself as well. You'll be given the chance to do that. Show that the peak is awaiting you. That the keys you were given were put to use. Okay. So this one here. What happened to the lights? So it's not Editor, it's not... I assume it's probably Arcado. Should I save first? I'm gonna save first, just in case. I don't want to mess anything up. Let's go with, Arcado. Exactly, Arcado's return. That's what the voice signified. From here on out, you'll be able to submit your own answers for the mysteries of the story and show what you've solved. At the end, you'll have access to the total number of correct answers, but your performance won't influence the story. Best of luck. I see. Okay. so I can just pick whatever. Akuto, was that you? Huh? Yes, where am I? What the fuck do you mean? We haven't seen you in hours. What time is it? We're still in the tower, right? Of course we are, and it's past 9 o'clock. The shutter didn't open. Wait, what? That can't be. Cut it out. Where the fuck have you been? What does that mean? I just touched the Sekimeiya and appeared here. Where? When did you touch it? It was... Spit it out. Was it after we escaped from the attic's bedroom? I don't even give a shit anymore. Yes. You son of a bitch. You punched me in the stomach. I was knocked out, and when I woke up I couldn't even stand up straight. I told him to tell me where he'd hidden the Sekimeiya since I knew he had it. I just touched it on the crystal floor and the lights went off. Are you saying that you travelled forward in time? You're a fucking liar. I'm not lying. My mind was worn out, but what Akuto was saying didn't make sense. I'd seen him earlier, before Shidori had run up to the attic. I don't care if you don't believe me. Just tell me what the fuck happened. Why are the lights off? And where is everyone else? You were gone for 6 hours. Do you think I'm gonna believe that nonsense? Katai died, and God knows where Shidori is. Wait, what? Katai was killed? Yes. What about Isla? Isla, you know what happened to her, right? Yes, but she was here again. So why'd you get quiet? You saw her as well. I don't know what happened. She was alive when we left the attic. We talked to her, but she didn't remember anything about what had happened. After this son of a bitch knocked me out, I wasn't able to find her again. What? You never said that. That means she's alive though. The recording was right. She'll be here. What recording? Can you please answer what I said? Why are the lights off? There's no way it's 9 o'clock. So I stabbed his wristwatch with one finger. It's 9:12, dumbass. And we don't know what happened. The lights went off just minutes before the shutter was going to open, and we have no idea why. That's not all that happened. The dead bodies disappeared too. It wasn't just the light. That was why Akuto's story was unbelievable. Had he travelled to the future? Was such a thing possible? Yes. Even if it was, his appearance didn't make sense. Something had happened at 9 o'clock that had gone against the normal flow of time. I didn't think that Akuto could have simply travelled forward in time to appear where we were. Wait a second. What the fuck are these clothes? Huh? I'm not wearing the clothes I was wearing before. What the fuck? Speechless, we stepped over to his voice. Once I felt the texture of his shirt, I realised that it wasn't the one he'd been wearing before. Ah, the Sekimeiya changed your clothes, is that right? That's what happened. They just changed. You're several galaxies out of your mind if you think we'll believe anything you're saying. What the fuck is your goal? Are they yours? These clothes? I think so. They're not the ones I had on though. I had no idea what to believe. Had the Sekimeiya made Akuto travel to the future? Had he swapped his clothing? I couldn't rule out anything as impossible, but it wasn't easy to trust him. If he was telling the truth, who had the Akuto that I'd seen been? His existence had gradually gotten harder to comprehend. You're really saying the shutter is still there? We're in hallway C, right? Hugging the wall, Akuto walked to the lobby. It is. It really is still here. Is it actually after 9 o'clock? What the fuck do we do then? What the fuck do you think we can do? Nothing! Despite being aware of another option for so long, something about their words was clearly flawed. There was another choice. We had the Sekimeiya. We could travel through time. According to Akuto, we travelled hours forward, so nothing we said we couldn't escape the tower with. The reason I hadn't explored that option yet was what Shidori had said. Due to her, I wasn't sure that trying to escape from the Dark Tower was what I had to do. However, Sai and Akuto weren't even discussing the Sekimeiya. Supposedly, Akuto had just appeared, and they hadn't even asked about its whereabouts. And you said Shidori is gone. What happened to her? We don't know. If you're not behind whatever just happened, it must be her. She ran away before the lights went out, and said not to follow her. She should be somewhere. Sai, you've reiterated that you know more about the Sekimeiya than us, and you haven't fundamentally denied what Akuto said. Does that mean that travelling to the future is possible? I don't know. Even if it was, would you really believe the nonsense he's spewing? You're the one spewing nonsense. Why would the exit not unlock? One of you killed Katai, right? Who was it? And what? The bodies disappeared? Have you searched for them? We know the Sekimeiya doesn't make them vanish, right? Is it even in the cabinet? Yes. And we were planning to search through the higher floors. We don't even know if the lights went off up there, but the elevator doesn't work and the security room is locked for some reason. What? I'm really gonna lose it. I have no idea how I've gone through all of this without losing it already. Shut the fuck up. If you're telling the truth, we've been here twice as long as you. Let's just go up. We can still hope there's still lights somewhere. They put the discussion on pause. I couldn't believe my legs were still obeying me, but I proceeded upstairs. Was there anything to find? Shidori? Maybe Isla? I had moved beyond taking things for granted. Once we went through the grey door, we saw that the darkness would likely persist. Did the lights really go out everywhere? Seems so. Even if there's something to find, there's no way we could find it. And if someone else is here, they're staying away from us on purpose. We should go all the way up first. We went around the floor without entering the partitions. Our steps echoed loudly in comparison to the more muffled corridors on the first floor. Gripping the handrail, we went up the stairs step by step. I wondered, would we be able to step into the attic? Perhaps Sai had a second key, but the original one should have been in the inner keyhole, and could have already been taken. We were all disheartened. Silently, we arrived on the 6th floor, though we could only know because we counted the stairwells. The door was unlocked. Sai opened the door to the attic, but we didn't see anything ahead of us. The key's still inserted here. It doesn't seem like there's light above, though. We stepped up the narrow staircase. At the top, we confirmed no light was on the final floor either. Fuck, man. Do we really have to stay in the dark for a month? You can turn into fucking vampires. As if having light would be much better. Hang on. I stepped forward toward the table. After fiddling with the cable, I pressed the switch. Oh, the lamp. It works, thank God. I wasn't sure if it functioned with electricity, but it should work anyway, since only the lights are out. I looked at everyone and almost fell back. It took me a second to notice the man behind Edina was Arcado. Not only was his clothes different, but his hair. He was hardly recognisable. That's what he actually looks like then. The rest was a disguise. Oh my God, the tip of my finger is cut. Look how much blood I'm losing. Edna looked inside her purse and brought out bandages. Grimacing from the sight of the blood, she covered her finger with them. The bedrooms had a lamp as well, right? Yeah. Thanks to them, we were able to light up the bedrooms. And by opening the doors, the hallway, kitchen and bathroom were slightly illuminated as well. Two of those places contain a minor indication that shed light on their situation, but the third one was the biggest clue. Alright, I'm going to go back over what we just read and have another think about that. Thanks to where they were able to set up the bedrooms and by opening the doors, the hallway, kitchen and bathroom were slightly illuminated. Two of those indications shed light on the situation. Literally shed light. That's interesting. But a third was the biggest clue. Interesting. Wait, where are they? I'm gonna go with bedroom. Seeing it's not going to cost us anything by trying it. In the right bedroom, Atsuki noticed the inner handle was unattached, like it had been minutes prior. He had seen that in the living room. The footprints they'd just left had been the only ones. It was very strange. Fainter ones should have been there as well. Confused, he stepped out, unaware that another place had a much stronger clue. Oh man, now I missed it. That glass. There was glass next to the sink. I recognized it. When I'd been with Shiroya, I tried to drink tap water. It tasted terrible though, and I put it away. After that time, I'd seen the glass again, but there was a major distinction between that glass and the one I was looking at. Specifically, it had since become empty. Hey guys, come to the kitchen. Everyone entered. What do you want? Did any of you pour out the water in this glass? I didn't. Everyone denied it with confusion. I left it here a few hours ago and it was filled with water. I don't think I moved it either. Maybe it got really hot and evaporated. You're saying the water is gone? Yeah. Sai frowned. What, did it evaporate then? Water evaporates at any temperature, doesn't it? Not that fast, but yeah. Atsuki, we're indoors, the air isn't moving, and it's not all that hot. It could take a month for the water in that glass to evaporate. A month? Yeah. I silently stared back at Sai, wondering if he was thinking what I was. What, do you think we travelled to the future? A month into the future? Behind me, Ed and his eyes were wide. Could that have been the truth behind the recording's prediction? Sai, is travelling to the future possible? It is, I'm pretty sure. And you said something happened before the lights went out, right? I didn't see it, but could we have travelled forward right as Shiroya ran away? A month into the future. Sekimeiya couldn't have had enough energy to make that happen, right? But there are no other footprints in the living room. The ones we left just a while ago should be visible. There's no way we went to the past because the handle in the right bedroom is on the floor. You think the shutter would still be in place after a month? Well, it is. Everyone was deep in thought, seriously entertaining the possibility I was presenting. There are plenty of things unaccounted for. Who activated this future travel and why? Why did we go so far into the future? Why are the lights off? What was the flash editor and I saw? And why did it not feel like we travelled? We didn't change places, did we? So I was right, if we were in the future, all of those questions had to be answered. However, others would be resolved. Spending a month in the tower without any source of food was no longer necessarily a problem. Arcado, did you want to change up your account a little? No. I don't know where we are, but it's where I appeared after touching the Sekimeiya you had hidden. Ah, right. Well, there's nothing else in the attic. No matter what's happening, we should just stay somewhere. We can't do anything else. Yeah, let's go shack up somewhere for a few dozen more hours, just in case the shutter opens someday. Who knows if Shidoya is going to send us another month forward, a minute, before they unlock though. I'm starving, by the way. I think I'll pass out any time now. Before anyone could reply, Sai departed the living room. He was followed by everyone but me. If something like that is what happened, Shidoya knew about it. She didn't say anything about it, only that she'd meant everything she'd said. How could she have even known that we'd end up in this situation? If it was her who'd made it happen, then why and how? Is it really possible that we're in the future? There's not even a guarantee that we're one month forward. We couldn't have gone a year into the future. No point after the water evaporated can be concretely determined. And the security room is locked, and we can't see the date on the computer. Is this what Shidoya wanted? Did she want this to happen for a reason? Everything she said in Hallway C, she already knew about this. I bit my lip as I walked to the right bedroom. The inner handle was in the hallway, and the sheets were messy. What happened to the real Shidoya? The one who went to the bathroom? Did she touch the Sekimeiya in the water tank? If so, where is she now? Could she eventually have become the other Shidoya? It was the most frustrating thing in the world. However, though I despised the thought of them, Shidoya's final words were kindling a bit of hope within me. How the hell would we even travel to the future? Sai said it's possible, and I doubt he was lying. Is it random? Like the replicated location? I suppose it can't be random if someone made us travel forward in time deliberately. But what exactly caused it? I lay on the bed. I was exhausted, and my parched throat demanded a drink. An urge I knew wouldn't relent anytime soon. Why do we have to step into the tower in the first place? I didn't have the will to push that thought away anymore. The door opened a few minutes later. I looked over and saw everyone coming in from the hallway. They seemed just as tired as me, as they stepped in slowly. Closing the door would have trapped us in, so they left it open. Arcado sat on the bed, making a deep noise. Huh? Well, what do we do now? What do you want to do? We might have been here for more than a month, and the exit's not open, unless you want to take down the shutter by hand. We can only keep waiting. This conversation, I don't get it. What the hell happened? Did Ashiya just abandon their own building with us inside? And we thought we'd be free after 12 hours. A tingling dread began at the tips of my fingers and wormed its way deeper inward. I glanced at Edina, and she looked like no more than a ghost. Atsuki, what are you thinking about? Do you have any more ideas? And hey, Edina, what's with that face? What, not gonna answer? Before we even heard the sound, Edina and I turned to the door. Then, it opened further, followed by gasps. Isla, what the hell? From the door, Isla looked at all of us. She seemed to be searching for something. However, she paid no mind to our perplexed faces and kept scanning the room. Hey, answer us. What are you looking at? Where am I? What do you mean? We're still in Ashiya Tower, do you not remember? No, I know. What I mean is, what happened to me? Where am I? What? No, I should be... Out of nowhere, she staggered forward and began to cry painfully. Isla, what's gotten into you? What are you holding? And Edina, why aren't you doing anything? She pushed the door with both hands, and who left was holding a device, one that I'd seen before. She twitched as she gripped it tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. Isla? Almost afraid she would disappear, Edina tentatively approached her. Realizing that she was corporeal, she embraced her daughter as she fell to her knees. Then on the floor, both of them cried. The recording. It had always been genuine. I finally understood its context, but even that understanding brought an immense number of questions along with it. Isla, where were you? What have you been doing? Through her sobs, she managed to repeat her question. What happened to me? What do you mean? You should be the one answering that. No, not to me, to Isla. Why isn't she here? Oh, you're not Isla, you're Isla's friend. Everyone was speechless. However, I knew that wasn't the Isla the others were thinking of. Do you mean your friend? She gave me an intense look and nodded. Then, when she saw I couldn't answer, her face broke even further, and she buried it in Edina's chest. This is the friend we were told about. She's searching for the Isla we knew. I have no idea how this came to happen, but this Isla is the person that my Isla mentioned. Their sobs continued for a long time, although they weren't understood. Nobody could interrupt them. But as soon as they began to peter out, Sai spoke. Isla, this is very important. What day is it? Do you know that? She looked up at him and managed to muster a date. Oh man, I don't fucking know. 15th of January? Maybe? Let's go with that. Jeez, I'm scared to push that button. That's the right next to the button that turns off the recording. Oh shit. 15. Shit, I don't even know what year it was. What year did we start at? I have to look at the remembers. Oh, here we go. 2011. 2011. Man, that took ages to find. So I looked on his watch and turned his wrist to show the time. It was 11:20, and right above it, the date was also shown. 12/15/2011. Okay, so we're gonna say 2012. I guess. It's probably wrong, but I'm gonna rock with that. At least I tried. 5th of January 2012. Wait, did I say 5th? I thought I said 15th. So we did go about 3 weeks into the future. What about Shidoya? Is she here? Shidoya? We don't know where she is. Should she be here? After a long pause, Isla nodded faintly. Sweetie, how did you get here? And why do you have that in your hands? With her weird eyes, Isla looked at the device she was holding. It was the one that had played the recording. Of course, that meant the conversation in the bedroom had just been recorded. I saw him hiding in the living room. Everyone looked at Sai, who smiled playfully. So she did. I actually found that in the security room a while ago. I didn't know what it was for until I found something else. A bug Aski had hidden in the pocket of a coat inside a locker. Wait, what? I didn't hide that. It was already there. How'd you even open that locker? The key was in the cleaning room. Really? Well, unfortunately, I found the bug later in the day, but I figured the device I'd found earlier could receive its audio. I thought this was a good occasion to use it. Well, with Arkado's story being questionable as hell. His clothes changed and he was out of the tower for a long time. That's why I just placed the bug on him and started recording. I wanted to know if he had a way to exit the building. What? Where is it? Calm down. Did you really not realize that it's behind your neck? To be honest, I was also curious about something else. I've still got no explanation for a lot of things that occurred. And I've thought for a while that one of us might travel to the past to carry out their plan. If that person happened to be Arkado, I'd hoped that when I pressed the play button, 2 recordings would show up at once. That would have immediately exposed him, but it didn't happen. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore, since he's aware of the bug. After frantically feeling his neck, Arkado was able to remove it. I see. So this is how the conversation was recorded, but why did Isla have it on the morning of the 15th? Is she going to travel to the past? While Edna's trembling hand stroked Isla's hair, she noticed something other than the recorder. What are you hiding, sweetie? Edna's voice sounded concerned, and I knew why. Isla's right hand was a fist. She was holding something. She shook her head in fear. Come on, open it. What do you have there? Edna had told us about it. During the 2 weeks before the event, Isla had sometimes hidden something in her fist. It appeared that it had been Isla's friend, who still refused to open her hand. However, Isla's remaining strength was negligible. Edna gently forced her hand open until we saw her palm. Wet from tears, her fingertip had a burn. What is this? I don't know, but it doesn't hurt. Did you get burned? When? Isla didn't reply. It didn't seem like she was sure. Isla, I believe that it's January 5th. But please tell us why you're here. What happened to you? It was clear nobody wanted to question why she was alive. No matter the answer, it had to be Sekimeiya's doing. I followed his steps. His steps? There was a hidden door outside. That's how I entered the storeroom. Wait, what? Is that door open? No, it closed. Before she could finish, Sai and Arkado ran out of the room. Then even Edna hurried to pick Isla up and leave. They were all going straight to the door to see if they could open it. Once again, I was the only one left behind trying to get a final thought. Isla followed her steps, and she thought Shidoya had to be here. Does that mean Shidoya recently entered from the storeroom? Wait a second. I might understand our misconception. Somehow we travelled days into the future, and the shutter was still here. That's what led us to think that it never opened. That's not it though, it must have opened minutes after we vanished from the 15th. Long after that, it was closed again. That's why the security room is locked and the elevator isn't working. Those are the alarm's effects. We were trapped for a second time. That's why the corpses are gone. This means the exit should still unlock within 12 hours, but will it be that easy? Will we be allowed to leave this time? Why are the lights off though? Why was nobody in the security room? Why is the attic unlocked? And why was the alarm activated again? Why did we travel days to the future? Why didn't it feel like we travelled? Why did Shidoya enter the tower on January 5th? We arrived on this day when, from our point of view, the lights went off. The alarm must have been activated before then, so it felt as if the shutter never withdrew. When? What's the deadline this time? And was it Shidoya? Whoever it was must have been here recently. Someone had to be here. Oh, I know when it happened. I can't believe I didn't realise it, but it must have happened immediately before our arrival on this day. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here, I'm pretty sure. Although I did spend a while looking for that date. Because I couldn't remember what year it was. But, yeah. I will come back to this in the next one. Getting close now. Getting close. Not answering most of the questions correctly, but that's okay. We're still going to get to the end. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.